why don't we follow sometimes this, our natural impulse, or why don't we follow joy? Can you say something about that?
Yes, but it's a very big topic. I'm not saying I will speak long about it, but it's just that it's a very big topic. Yeah. Why are we miserable when we could be joyful?
It's true, it is a big topic.
It is a basic human question. We have inside us a mechanism that has been very exercised in many civilizations, and particularly in our own. And this is the mind. We go to school from age 5 to age 20 or 24 to make the mind stronger and more skillful. The mind's main function is to fantasize things which don't exist. And in many ways, this is a good function. When you have a problem and you need a solution, the mind can think of 2 or 3 or 4 ways that might be the solution. So I'm not objecting to its function. The trouble is that it has replaced the being. It's become so powerful that the being never gets attention. The presence in a person, which is whatever is happening in this moment. The mind is always in the future, thinking, I will be happy when I get such and such. And then it's thinking that because in the past, when I got such and such, I was happy. So the mind jumps from the past and then creates a future on the basis of the past and imagines that there's security in this. And there may be security, but there's no joy in it. Because the minute the mind reaches the new goal, it's been in such the habit of desiring that it jumps to a new goal in order to keep control. And by now, our mind is filling every moment. You may be eating, but you're thinking. You may be walking, but you're thinking. You may even be talking to someone, but you're thinking of something else. So the mind has just taken over without our realization, and we now call our mind ourself. We don't even know what presence feels like. When we find out what presence feels like, either by accident or by the decision to find out about it, we're amazed at what kind of happiness we have inside us. But we have to be in the present moment to feel it. And the mind is occupying the present moment. So by now, most of us will have to make some concerted effort to come back to the present.
Can you say something about action, the difference between action and reaction? Because those are 2 dimensions that you really talk about in your work and in your groups. And
yes. Well, it's actually the same dimensions that I was just speaking about a moment ago. Action comes from presence. Reaction comes from desire. And so action will have a spontaneous joy connected to it and will not be concerned with results or repercussions or things that happen afterwards. Reaction is always connected to results. It's always designed to either get what I want or resist what I don't want. And so it's the same what I was saying before. If you react all the time, reaction usually means doing what the other person wants or refusing what the other person wants. if you react all the time, you won't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So the more time you're in action, which you've chosen for yourself because you delight in it, the more time you spend doing that, the better you feel.
Mm-hmm. Some clients have told me, but that's selfish. I hear that a lot. I'm being selfish if I only look at my own joy.
Again, it depends if the person is in the desire dimension or in presence. If a person's in the desire dimension and they only take what they want, do not consider the other person. This is selfish. Because they have a desire, they want, they grab, and the other person feels hurt, usually. Especially if it was supposed to be shared, and now one person got all, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So that is selfish. But when you're present and you do something, it is usually loving. Now, I can take an example of a person that I heard about because it's somebody I know who it is. But for example, her situation is that she's living with a man and she wants to leave him. But he said, if you leave me, I will commit suicide. Now she has quite a choice in front of her to leave because it feels good to her to leave, or to stay with him so that he doesn't commit suicide. The first is a choice from presence. The second is a choice from reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him to commit suicide. It's a negative desire. I don't want him to commit suicide. So she is still with him. So, of course, everyone would say this is a very difficult choice.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's not a difficult choice because love is love. If she goes on her own and is loving and keeps sending this love towards him, there will be no suicide for sure. And as long as she stays with him, that thought will be there. If she ever leaves me, I'll commit suicide. So that they remain in tension, both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one has to know inside if my action is from love, and if I feel more love in myself, or if my action is from desire.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the one is selfish, and the other is actually nourishing everybody around you. You don't trust it in the beginning because your whole life your parents have told you not to trust yourself. They've told you to follow the rules. They've told you to follow them. They've told you to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, you couldn't trust your natural impulses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why quite a lot of work is necessary on yourself, is to regain your trust. As I was saying before, when my male wanted to go to the party, even he could not trust himself in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then this regaining of the trust happens bit by bit.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And once one starts to trust themselves bit by bit, there's no turning back because it's such a juicy feeling.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you learn by experience that everything is better for all the people on the outside if you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We couldn't learn when we were young by experience because our parents didn't know about this. Mm-hmm. The only thing they knew about was conformity. And they were concerned with survival. Mm-hmm. So if one conforms, if one does what is expected by the society, one can be assured of survival. This was their thinking.
Yeah.
And so the result for children is that they don't trust themselves. Mm-hmm. And then as they do learn to trust themselves, they find out that everybody is more happy. Mm-hmm. Even those people who were sure they would not be before. Mm-hmm. And survival is more easy.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from something spontaneous in yourself.